Yo, what's poppin' everybody? This is revolving 4, and today I have a new deck to show you guys revolving around a few stage 1s. So, this deck is gonna revolve around Toxtricity as the main attacker and Toxicroak to give it support with more poison. So, this deck, I just need to definitely say it because I don't want to give people the wrong idea, is by no means tier 1, even tier 2, and it's mostly for fun. You shouldn't take this deck to like a tournament. I don't even know if there are any like tournaments in real life now, or just in any sort of very competitive event, and just hope you're going to do very well with it. It's a cool deck, it's a fun deck, but that's about it for the most part. I do feel like though it might have some potential. If we had, I don't know, I guess some other partners, maybe if we had the Tapulele that allowed you to manipulate the damage, move the damage counters to its attack, like we did before. So it is a spread deck. This guy, what he does is with Poison Shout, you do 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Now there's actually a bunch of Pokemon that have this sort of spreading attack. There's a Noivern that can do this. I'm sure there's other Pokemon. We've seen this sort of attack before. Tapu Koko, the promo, used to do this for just a DC, and it was a basic. It was really good. It had free retreat. But we get this guy now. So the difference between this guy though and some other spread Pokemon is that on top of the spread damage he does, you also inflict poison on the active Pokemon. And that's actually quite good. It's a little bit of extra damage that's going to stack up, and it combines fairly well with this Toxicroak right here. This guy's ability, if he's out, you put 2 more damage counters on your opponent's poison Pokemon during Pokemon checkup. I guess they have this sort of a text jargon in the effects now. But basically, 20 more damage counters through poison. So it's like Verbank City Gym through an ability. Obviously, we can stack this effect if we have a bunch of these out. And it gives this deck, it's obvious synergy. It gives it a little bit of merit, and you can actually do apply a little bit of pressure this way, which gives it a little bit of hope. So it's very, very basic, very, very simplistic. Main attacker is this guy, Poison Shout. You're almost never going to use Hammer In, but you never know. 130 HP stage 1 is actually quite excellent, to be honest, so there's nothing really bad about this Pokemon. So we max this guy out. For the choice of Toxel, I use this one from Rebuild Clash. I think it's the best one. 70 HP, Tight Jaw, does 10 for 1, and you have the chance to inflict paralysis. I think there's a bunch of other ones. I think there's one that has 70 HP, 1 retreat, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure all of them have 2 retreat. I like this one, but there's a few other ones around. So max this out. Then we max out the Croagunk. I think this is the only one you can use, and Stampede, 10 for 1, might do this, 7 HP, 1 retreat. And then I've got 2 Toxicroak. I'm just using 2 because I only have 2, but at the same time, it allows me to have the deck be more consistent. I don't know if I would max him out if I had 4, but I think 3 should be standard. Like you need to run at least 3 so you can really take advantage of the more poison. So if you've got 2 of these out, you're doing 50 damage to the poison. That's going to add between the turns. And you're doing 20 on everybody. So it's like 70 where you're hitting the bench and you're doing damage through poison. Obviously, this deck is going to be more powerful and expanded, where you can take advantage of Verbank City Gym. You can obviously take advantage of Seviper, which makes things much faster, much more consistent. You don't have to evolve a stage 1. So maybe I'll actually show the deck and expand it too. Probably should have made it in expanded in the first place. But anyway, I don't like the expanded format right now. Okay, but this is how I'm running it. If you have more of these, obviously you run more, and then you take out maybe the Crush and Hammers, a few Crush and Hammers, maybe Judge Whistle. Just a lot of these cards that aren't really that necessary. Like Judge Whistle is just to boost the consistency. We get a little bit of space. And Crush and Hammer is to just give me a little bit of extra offense, I guess. More disruption. If we get lucky... fucking hell. Motorcycle. But if we get lucky and discard like a few energies on our opponent, That could help. This deck needs all the help it can get, because we're not doing the damage. Obviously, if you have enough time, it's going to add up through spread. But the reason they give it this sort of lots of spread damage is because it's not very effective to spread damage around if you can't utilize it somehow, like in some other way. So, especially if they play Mew, then you're never going to win. But, yeah. Okay, so these are the Pokemon. I've got this Tapu Koko just as my favorite treating guy. Maybe we can use a lure too. You never know. Why not? I needed to add a few more basics so that we don't mulligan all day. And then one of these Absol, I guess to fuck with people using Jirachi. Dark Ambition. It's just a good ability against basic Pokemon, boosting their retreat. Annoying against Zacian and what have you. It's a good Pokemon. Why not? Couldn't really think of anything else to put. I guess you could put your own Mew, but I'd advise against it. You sort of let other players know that, yeah, there's this card that exists that can shut you down. But anyway, pretty simple. Big Pokemon line, or I guess it's not too bad, 16, but it will get bigger if you want to add more Toxicroaks. Okay, now trainers is just pretty, obvious stuff is obvious. You max out the Quick Ball, we got to get a bunch of our basics as soon as possible. Croagunks and Toxels. For this reason, run the Evolution and Sense to get the Evolved forms too. So 3 of this should get everybody. And 1 Communication, Jack of all trades, I guess, when it comes to Pokemon. You put in an Evolution form, you grab a basic, or late game, you need an Evolution form, you shuffle back a basic that you can't play down, get the Evolution form. So just try and boost the consistency as much as possible. As usual, if I'm running a regular ass deck like this, sort of a anti-meta rogue deck, I don't like to put cards like Dedenne and Oricorio, Eldegoss, these sort of support Pokemon that could help your consistency, but then they become easy ways for your opponent to just kill 4 of your guys and then just grab one of those small dudes and then finish the game off. So that's my preference, but it's up to how you guys want to build the deck if you want to change it up. Okay. Judge Whistle, boost the consistency. There's also some good synergy with the charge, the speed energy, and hop in here. I got 1 energy spinner to get a little bit of energies. You don't really need a lot of energies. You just attack with 1 energy, and that's another thing that makes this deck work. But just 1 of this, it's always nice to have it. Just have 1 switch for my switching outlet. There's not really much need to switch around and do stuff in this deck. This guy does have to retreat, but you just can slap 1 energy and attack with him, so you don't care about crushing hammers and stuff. Got 1 of the ordinary rods for a little bit of recovery. We probably going to be shuffling a bunch of these guys back in the deck, or maybe this guy if he dies, if your opponent picks on it. Clever people will pick on this guy as opposed to just targeting this guy. And 1 tool scrapper, a little bit of tool removal, just 1 of these. I've got 4 Crush and Hammer in here. This is a card that I hate and I don't really like to use or see my opponent using. But in this deck, we can kind of afford to run a bunch of these. Like I've said, if you have more of these guys, you put more of these guys in and maybe you take a few of these out. But just a few, if you get lucky, it can go a long way. Slow down your opponent. If they can miss turns of attacking, it means more turns of you spreading damage, and that's what you really want. Okay, so 4 of these, you can substitute them for other techs. And that's basically it. Stadium of choice is going to be Dust Island. I decided to go with this because switching cards like items like Switch and Mallow and Lana, these are popular cards. So this could help keep the poison around on our opponents. So I thought, why not? It makes sense to run it. This is a poison sort of spread deck in a way. If you want to remove this and put something like Swell, it wouldn't be bad, but I just decided to run it. Obviously, if we had Verbank City Gym, I would definitely use that in this deck. But this is the best sort of poison-esque stadium, I suppose. So 3 of this. we can afford to run 3 once again. Supporters, standard stuff. I'm really missing Cynthia, so we gotta make do with the substitutes. Doing double Eriga's Hospitality, doing max of Marnie, or at least the max copies that I have, 3 in this case. Double Magnolia, and I'm doing double Skyla too. She's good enough, I suppose. Get the incense, and then I can evolve her. One of the boss's orders to sort of make a crucial pull. And I've got one of these hop guys. I don't like this dude. He's just a freaking ripoff of How. It's like they're cousins or some shit. Anyway. And it's not like I really liked How in the first place either. These happy-ass rivals. You just draw 3 cards. It's basically Charon. I would definitely like to have I would prefer to have like Charon in this deck, because he's much cooler. But it's the same effect. Draw 3 cards. Needed a few substitutes for supporters. We don't really have much else going on. He's good because I have a lot of straight draw going because of the speed energies. This is another thing this deck can utilize very well, and it helps it with consistency. So it's great. You draw 2 cards, so Pot of Greed. Very good. Between the whistles and this dude, it's gonna work out. You don't have to shuffle and draw and discard and draw so much. So it's nice, that's the point. And I guess I forgot to talk about, I got an air balloon too, I guess, for another switching card. Just a tool. Slap it onto somebody. But yeah, very simplistic deck. These are all the supporters just to help us out, get what we need. Energy is just 10. Max out the speed energy because it's awesome. And then the rest is just regular lightning energies. So this is the deck, guys. I'm going to show you guys some matches, of course. It's pretty fun. I really like just stage 1 decks. That's why I've used Ninetales with Salazzle for so long, and I still use it sometimes. And this is another sort of stage 1 deck. It kind of made me to just play it, try it out, just try decks of this nature out as, I guess, another substitute to Ninetales with Salazzle. So I like decks like that. Okay, so I think there's nothing else to say. I mean, talking about matchups, I mean, anything that runs Arceus, you're dead. You're never going to win. Against water decks, I guess you have the lightning weakness, so you can spread a little bit of extra damage. But since this guy doesn't do a lot of damage, 20 times 2 isn't magical by all means. But I guess you do a little bit of extra damage. Against other anti-meta decks, like if you play against the shitty Decided Eye, then you're pretty much going to win. They can't do shit to you. You're going to fuck them up big time, in all probability. And what else? The other Toxtricity, that's the deck out deck, that tries to mill 5 cards of your deck. You might be okay against that too, because you just get this guy out and you don't play anything else. And you just, if you get like this, you just keep your cards, and then you do this when you're going to get close to decking out. You keep doing 20 on everybody, they're eventually going to lose. You just use 1 energy, you don't really care. So I guess that's another matchup. But for the most part, like serious matchups, you're not going to be very good against them. You're going to have to be very, very lucky. But yeah, your hope is this guy boosting the poison damage, giving you a little bit of extra damage. That's why you should probably run like 3 to 4, not just 2 like me, if you have them. So this is the deck, guys. Just going to show you a few matches for fun. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. Share this video with your friends. And I'll see you guys next time. We'll say...